Emily Bache. Happy Christmas, happy Advent. This talk is about Samman technical coaching. Now, you may be familiar with this book and this research. It came out a couple of years ago, and I think it's really important because this book basically explains the research that proves that it matters how we write software. Technical practices are important for the success of businesses today. Because of digitalization and because of the way the world is changing, if you're selling a product that contains software, then the way people write the code actually matters a lot for the success of your product and your business. So I've been working on a coaching method, which I'm calling the Samman technical coaching method, and it is specifically a method for working with software development teams to improve the way they build software, help them to embrace more modern, agile ways of writing code, the kind of things that this Accelerate research has said is important and actually influences how well we can write software. And I've decided to call it the Samman method because Samman in Swedish means together, and the focus of this method actually is teams writing software together with a coach who's using the coaching method. So I want to explain what the coaching method actually consists of. Now, I like to make an analogy with skiing. I like skiing. It's an activity I really enjoy. And I've got two pictures here of people skiing. And the first picture, this is a beginner skier. You can tell because she's looking at the ground instead of the nice view and the feeling of skiing. But you can also see that she's got her skis very wide apart in a kind of V in front of her. And this enables her to control the speed of the skiing very easily. And she's very stable. She's not likely to fall over. She can cope with different kinds of terrain. This is a useful technique. It's called snowplow, and it's usually the first technique you learn when you start skiing. Now, the other picture is of a more experienced skier, and they're using an entirely different way to ski. It's a technique called parallel skiing, parallel turns. You put the skis next to each other like this, so not kind of wide spaced. And it's a very different way of balancing on the skis, and it's a different way of controlling your speed and direction. And it has this advantage that it allows you to go much faster than the other technique and tackle much steeper slopes. So really, if you're going to ski, you want to learn this technique because it's going to be much more fun. Now, I like this analogy because it's clear that both of these skiers can ski, they can get down a slope, and they're using different techniques to do that. Just like in software, there are different ways to write software. And some of those techniques are the ones that you learn at the beginning when you're just learning, and they actually are very good for lots of different situations. But there are other techniques which you may not have come across and you may not actually have learned. And those techniques, like test-driven development, like refactoring, like continuous integration, like iterative and incremental design techniques, a lot of those things are unfamiliar to software developers today. They haven't really ever learnt them. They can do development, it's like they can ski, but there's more that they could learn. And the thing is, transitioning from one technique to the other, it's not very easy. A lot of software developers struggle, and it's very easy to actually just fall back on what you know. So the first element of the Samman coaching method is the learning hour, where we try and learn these new techniques and practice them on exercises, and we get together with our whole team and we discuss how does this work, we learn some theory, just like a skiing lesson really. And that gets us to the point where we can tackle like beginner slopes in code or using the new techniques. But of course that's not enough. If you're going to learn to ski, you need to learn to use your new technique in various conditions. And one of the pictures here is of a beautiful smooth slope, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait. I hope I'm going to get to go skiing this winter. That looks fun. And then the other picture is the same slope on a different day when it's covered in bumps and there's loads of people in the way, and that looks a lot more challenging to ski in. And that's the thing is, for software developers, the environment that they're coding in varies a lot. Some of the time they're working in like new development where they've got full control and great tools and everything goes well. And sometimes they're working in old code that they don't understand, that there's lots of other people working in there, and that's like the bumpy slope. So the other part of the Samman coaching is to help the developers to apply the new techniques even when conditions are difficult. So that's the part of coaching which we call ensemble working. We get the whole team together. There are some roles and ways of interacting that make this work so that we're all coding together on the same machine, the whole team. And we're going to work on a realistic task in this team's code base, something that is typical for what they usually work on. But instead of the focus being on making progress, which it would be normally, the focus is on practicing the new techniques. How do we apply test-driven development and refactoring and incremental and iterative design techniques in this code? So those are the two main parts of Samman technical coaching. You've got the ensemble programming, 2 hours a day. You've got the learning hour, 1 hour a day. And then for each team, you do 10 coaching days in a block. And then you go away and they hopefully learn to use the techniques without the coach being there. And then the coach comes back and does another 10 days of coaching. And you can repeat that as often as the team thinks it's useful, basically. So that was a short introduction to what Samman technical coaching is. And I just wanted to end with pointing out I'm just writing a book about this topic, and it's just published on LeanPub, and I heard today actually that Kent Beck has agreed to write the foreword. So the book is very nearly finished. I hope it will be finished very soon. Thank you for listening. Happy Christmas.